Not every school has this next stance. It's a natural stance, and there's different names for it. But natural stance is that stance that says, I'm not fighting. I'm not ready to, I may be ready to fight, but I'm not actually fighting. When you see a lot of Kempo speed lines, some guys will just drop right into this, feet shoulder width apart, hands down by their sides. When I look at it this way, I also call it flat-footed. The idea being, if you can work from this position and then the attack is generated towards you, and you manage to step back and boom, get right into a block or a counter or an attack or whatever, right? You're going to be able to move even better when you're working from a fighting stance or you're working from a more aggressive passive stance. Right? So again, natural stance, several different variations of it. The first natural stance is just flat-footed. Your hands are down by your side, you're standing there like nothing's going on. You're in la-la land. Right? Hopefully you're never caught in that position. Again, brace from the side, natural stance. Right? That's flat-footed. Now, when I talk about natural stance in this classroom, what we do is we start speaking Italian. Speaking Italian means you talk with your hands. Your hands are now up. In law enforcement, they call this an interview stance. And actually, when you see this in law enforcement, if they're right-handed, they'll drop that weapon back and they'll bring their hands up and they'll talk to you. And their hands are ready to engage wherever, but the weapon is protected and their hands are up in that non-threatening but prepared position. Right? So this is in our school, Premier Kempo, this is our natural stance. Our hands are up. We're constantly keeping those hands up, ready to engage at any moment, but at the same time in a non-threatening manner. Now, we don't want to be here, ready to go, and we're not ready to throw our hands out yet and say, hey, what's going on? We don't want to talk like this. So this is our natural stance. Now, we've got a couple of other stances we work through, what we call a passive ready and an active ready. All right. Passive ready just means you've taken a step back. If you're right-handed, you have a tendency to bring your right hand forward. If you're left-handed, you might bring your left hand forward. If you have a weapon on your hip, you might bring your left hand forward. If you have a weapon on your left hip, you might bring your right hand forward. Again, it looks very non-aggressive, but just the fact that you've started to blade your body, your knees are slightly bent, and those hands are up, you're starting to prepare yourself for what might come on. At the same time, you're letting the whole world know that, hey, this guy doesn't want to fight. He's trying to defuse the situation. He's trying to extricate him himself out of going hands-on. Right? This is passive ready. Right? You're talking, but you're prepared for anything that might go on. Again, you've got that blade. You've gone from here. You've got that little bit of a blade going on. You're starting to minimize your targets while still keeping all your weapons available to what's in front of you. But those hands are up. Again, open position. They're not in fists. They're not in anything what we consider aggressive. Unfortunately, we still have to deal with lawyers. Right? So we've got to make sure we work from the best possible position of strength when we come to articulating why we did what we did after the situation evolved. The next stance we can work with that's part of the natural stance series is going to be the active ready. We've gone from, we want to stand away from the white zone. We've gone into the yellow. We should always function in yellow. But when you start going active, whether it's passive or you go into a ready stance, whether it's passive or active, now you're starting to step into those orange zones, or maybe even to the red zone. Right? So if we transition through natural stance, through a passive ready stance, and then we step back and our hands and our body becomes even more bladed, but those hands are up, and now we've gone to what we call an active ready stance. Your voice has gotten louder, you're really communicating, with the person in front of you or whoever is in front of you, causing you to accept this or fall into this position. Right? So again, we have natural, we have flat-footed, we have natural, we have passive, and then we have active. Right? This is right before the fight, or you're getting those hands up and you're ready to go at that point. Right? This is that last step before you start hitting somebody. Right? So remember, even up to that last second, you're trying to feed any bystanders or even the person in front of you that you don't want to fight. You don't want necessarily, you don't want to step into an aggressive environment and go hands-on, and where all kinds of bad things are going to happen. So those are our basic stances for work and self-defense techniques. Again, flat-footed, natural, passive, active. right?